Welcome to NC Political Tea, the show where North Carolina's political scene gets served piping hot, grassroots style. We're here to shake up the status quo with unapologetically conservative takes and a whole lot of Southern charm. From the halls of Congress to under the dome, we're exposing the deals, the drama, and the dirt that the mainstream media won't touch. Who's fighting for your freedom? Who's selling out to the woke mob? And who's about to get roasted? No fluff, no filters, and absolutely no time for spineless politics. Just bold Republican commentary, sharp analysis, and enough sass to make the left squirm. So grab your sweet tea or something stronger, and let's dive into the hottest headlines and juiciest scandals rocking the Tar Heel State. This is NC Political Tea, where the truth always gets served.
Somebody turned 21 today.
That's right, 21. Here we are.
Could it be?
Everybody has to have another day, another revolution around the sun. That was mine today. So
Very good. And you know what? By now that you're 21, I don't know if you feel the same way I do. By the time I was 21, I didn't want to drink anymore.
you know what? Well, the drinking age, this is how old I am, was 18. So you're right. By the time I turned 21, I was like, we're done. Because truthfully, we were drinking at 16. I'm not gonna lie. And
that was a different time.
Yeah, it was a totally different time.
You can't do that now.
I just have to say, I'm glad I lived through it.
And there wasn't Facebook and pictures.
Oh, no kidding. Listen, we were the luckiest generation of all. We truly were. There were no pictures. Polaroids weren't really important. Nobody wanted them then. You know, we really had the best of everything.
Remember the disposable cameras? Disposable cameras were like the thing.
They started after. So we had great clothing because the Limited had just gotten spun up. And
well, the Limited. Remember the Body Shop? That place for Lycra.
Great music. We just had great fun.
Yeah. But I mean, again, you're talking about time you weren't even born yet because you're 21.
So. Well, what's funny, when I was in college, every concert I ever went to, I bought a t-shirt. And my daughter found the drawer of t-shirts and she was like, she's like, what are you gonna do with these? I'm like, I don't know. I didn't even know I had them. So she wears my vintage t-shirts. Like they're just like the ones you get at Target, but these are the real ones. So
they're thicker. Was one of them Def Leppard?
I don't know, but I don't know how I got this one, but I did have an Iron Maiden t-shirt. I told her she could have any one of them she wanted, but the Go-Go.
That would have been wild. Yeah, no, that's a little bit too much.
Yeah.
Although I like rock, but yeah, Iron Maiden's a little bunch. So speaking of Iron Maidens, there are 3 of them. I don't know how I did a tie-in.
That's hilarious. You tied that in so well.
I tied it right in there, man. I tied it right in. So there are 3 Iron Maidens that are doing some pretty insane stuff. I'll put this up here, and they're doing queer Marxist legislation. So now that the legislation is out, guys, and here's the way it works in North Carolina. The House gets out. Sometimes the House and the Senate do partner bills, which we'll discuss tonight. But they get all these bills out, laws they want to make, etc. And then, right, Margot, one has to cross over to the other during crossover period. And we're noticing a theme.
A huge theme. And it's not, it's good in a way for us because they're outing themselves, just pure out outing themselves.
Yeah. So there's a lot of this that people didn't vote for. I think the polling now, last month was 74% of all registered voters do not want what we're about to put on here. And there's a collection of bills that, I mean, I'm just going to tell you guys, the Democrats want to put transgender ideology into tampons, taxpayer-funded tampons. I'm not kidding you. Crime bill, which we haven't discussed. I don't know if you know if it's out. I'm going to explain that in a second. Obviously healthcare, school, and your children. They're all in. They want it in your household with your parents. They want it in adoptive homes. They want it in schools. They want it in every bathroom.
In the bathroom.
So Republicans who are running campaigns for the midterms, if you're running in the primary next year, March 25th, a year from now, that's the primary. But you better start talking now. We ain't the problem. You know, a lot of times we think, because we're conservatives, we want less government. We're thinking, why are we having to legislate every aspect of life? I figured it out today.
It's not just legislate every aspect of life. It's also, we have legislated some of these things previously, and they keep bringing them up, and they're losing issues.
Well, what we're legislating for, and hopefully I'll make a cogent case for everyone. You can agree or not agree, but we're trying to protect some crazy shit that they're trying to do, as evidenced by this is a bill. These are the sponsors. Yes. Okay. Speaking of Iron Maidens, this is my tie-in. So this is a bill. On its face, it's like, okay, I can sort of agree with it, I guess, when you hear about it. It means, and I'm just going to walk you through. If you are, let's say if you're charged with assault or murder, God forbid, right? A defense for the defendant cannot be, this person misled me and I freaked out.
And what you're saying is this person acted and looked as if they were a female when they were a male.
Remember this?
Oh, yeah.
Crying game. Long time ago. Well, basically, this dude got catfished, right? Had an ongoing, I guess, limerent affair, was emotional with a woman, etc., a guy. And, this is a long time ago, remember? And at the time, when they got to the love scene, it was so crazy. They got to the love scene. Guess what happened? It's a dude. Now, I'm telling you right now, if you're out there drinking, okay, and you've got someone who isn't honest, plenty of people, whatever, you probably need to be honest about that. But if you're going to take someone down the path, it might be quite shocking. You might get your ass beaten. Now, you should stand trial, but that should be part of your defense. I was misled. Am I making any sense here?
Oh, yeah, you're making perfect sense. I was just sitting here thinking about any Bubba that got misled up here, somebody would get their ass beat.
I'm just telling you right now. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with saying, listen, I don't know how you feel about women with penises, but that's who you're about to go to bed. That's who you're about to go to bed with. I think that's only fair.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, and I'm not advocating for beating anyone's ass, but I am saying that if that happens, it should be part of your defense and let the jury decide. That's what juries are for. They want to say, and play this out, because I tried to play this out this afternoon. So let's just say a guy gets to that point, that happens, and he assaults someone. You mean to tell me you've got to go into court and leave all that out? So it looks like you have just randomly, for the hell of it, beaten somebody's ass with no precipitate, like you're a marauding.
Well, almost it forces the victim to be, or I won't even call him the victim, the person who's the defendant, to get on the stand to tell the story. It forces them to. They cannot be silent.
They have to omit the part where, okay, I wasn't expecting
this. The eggplant.
And look, and this is, I don't know how often it happens. I hope it doesn't, but you cannot deceive someone in that kind of way. And, do outrageous shit, expect outrage. I'm just saying.
So what does the bill say?
The bill say that you cannot use in your defense that, oh, this person deceived me in this way.
That isn't even legal, because every defense is a defense.
Well, of course it's not legal, because it's, and
that's what I'm saying.
Speech.
Correct. And the truth is a defense. It's the absolute defense.
Well, it's a mitigating factor. Look, nobody believes that someone that's gay should have their ass beaten ever in any circumstance. That's not what's happening. That's not what this is. It's called panic. So I'm sorry, but if a guy goes to bed with somebody with the same equipment, that would rightfully cause panic if they have not been told.
That's deception. So what I find offensive about this is, like, I don't care who you are, but you're telling me you can weaponize sex for yourself. And when I find out you have lied to me and deceived me, I can't use my right to say
defend
you
yourself.
deceived me.
You may feel threatened. Well, yeah, I mean, you may feel rightfully
Transpanics.
threatened.
Just so you know, Transpanic sounds like a rock band.
Transpenis?
Transpanic.
Okay, sorry guys, that was a big snafu, but I will say that there are a lot of trans that are big damn people. So I mean, if you're in that situation, you may feel like you have to defend yourself. I don't know, but this is bullshit. That's what I do know, and they're trying to get it.
It's just really sad. It's sad that they feel the need to. This is another way to manipulate speech as well.
It's absolutely. It's another way to manipulate speech. Now, this also dovetails on the other bill that we talked about the other night, which, by the way, my phone was ringing off the hook the entire next day, yesterday. This is actually a bill that's proffered by several Democrats in the House that is trying to give children a fundamental right to sex changes behind their parents' back. Okay. That's ridiculous. And mandatory requirement on training healthcare workers. Here's another gem. Equality for all creates a new civil right category for sexual orientation, gender identity. And it could work like this. Let's say I've got a small business, whatever it is. And one day, I hired Larry, and Larry just starts to go into the bathroom with all of my female people. And he's Larry until the moment he touches the doorknob of the bathroom. And he's going in and he's making all the employees uncomfortable. I'm screwed under that bill because I have to continue to allow things that are running off my other employees and that I find morally reprehensible.
Well, here's the thing. The big issue for me is we've already got an edict from our president. He says there's only two sexes. And yet these people—
I think that came from God. I'm pretty sure.
Well, you're right. But I mean, we have an edict from the White House as well, reaffirming what God has said. And here's the part that bothers me. These people continue to try to legislate issues that we voted against by voting for this president.
Overwhelmingly. And so that's their theme. I think it's worse than obstruction, because you can obstruct a president on things that, you're going to get at least 50% agree with you. Leave the children alone.
Well, and why is it the 1%ers? That's what I'm going to call them. The 1%ers out of the 99%, because they really are a very small minority. Why do they feel like they have a right to tell 99% of parents, you don't get to know what your kid's doing? What is that about?
I don't know, but these three, the one on the far left, by the way, is a woman. Okay. These three are doing it. And they're pushing, and look, they're pushing their lifestyle on everyone. And we know that the gay men, plenty of gay people do not like this at all. All the gay people, all of our friends, they do not like it. They do not like it. But you've got a very militant sector.
There's militant lesbians.
These are the Iron Maidens. These are the Iron Maidens pushing this stuff. And oh, by the way, they're not alone though. Margot, they're not alone, because there's 8, 9, 10, 15, 16 other Democrats with them. So it's ridiculous. So this is also. Now here's yet another one. Check this out. This is and they call it something completely perverted. Mental Health Protection Act. It's in the House and Senate, 2 versions. So they're trying to get this over. What it says is basically no conversion therapy. Conversion therapy is a misnomer. What they're talking about is they think that there's some widespread practice out there of counselors trying to talk people out of being gay. Here's the problem. What it does, it's one-sided ideological framing. So the bill actually sets up a way that any and all counseling that pushes children into transgender lifestyles, and don't tell me it's not happening, I've exposed it over and over again. This is a vehicle to do that.
Well, and the issue that is not only that they're using that vehicle, but now we have, and I'm just going to take a second away from the bills as we go forward. We've had some legal agreements made that allow this to continue on through the DMV and the Office of Vital Statistics. So you get a therapist on board. You get a therapist on board, and she says, "Okay, Sloan, we're gonna change you over. All you need is my signature on a letter sent into the Vital Statistics office, and guess what? Bam!
You walk it in. So you go get your driver's. Yeah, you go walk in. You're like, yeah, I'm a dude now, and you change your birth certificate, your freaking birth certificate. That it is so extreme. Other states say that you can amend it. You can totally change it here. And so really women's sports was DOA for a very long time because, and I think it may still be, because if you've got a birth certificate that says you're a guy, what are they going to do? Pull your pants down?
Well, and that's the concern I have is, we do have some other bills to stop that now. That's Vicky Sawyer and Brad Overcash's bill. But that ties into those therapists. It really does tie into those therapists because.
Thank you for that. Yes, you're right, because this is part and parcel. So that you're right. They've really thought this out, which is kind of scaring me.
It scares me because you and I did not talk before the show, and we put the pieces together just now. So if we can,
and we're blind, if we can do that, then this is so egregiously overt, so as unavoidably noticeable.
Yeah, what you said. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, and then the other stuff. That's how people think we are, but actually, you have a PhD, and I'm fairly well educated.
It's not hard to put this together if you just know what is in the law or what's available.
Well, now they try to trip us up with having so many bills on this. Here's another one, yet another one. We talked about this before. This forcing racial stuff. Now I'm going to talk about this. We're going to jettison now from the sexualizing, okay, to something that's downright dangerous as well. This is DEI. We talked about it, but DEI in the confines of school discipline. Let me show you what happened yesterday. And I really hate to do this. You have got to see it to believe it. But this is this is an architect. This happens all the time in schools. Check it out. Damn! This is a child. I hated to show it, but it's an autistic child who doesn't appear to have done anything.
And at Ashbrook High School in Gastonia, North Carolina. We don't know where you are, young man.
We know everything about the perpetrator. I know everything about him. The victim, we're not going to talk about, but I will tell you that we are seeing this, and I'm going to bring it up. We wrote on NC Political Tea a long blog yesterday about it. We saw this several months ago in Winston-Salem.
And one in Durham, too. Several fights like that in Durham.
Wait, let me see. Okay, I got to remove this. Okay. Yeah, I think that affected me. This is a young man who's just hit his teacher.
You think that affected me any? Hit you again? I don't want it. You want me to hit you again? I don't want it. You want me to hit you again? I'm fucking with you. I told your dumbass I'm not this dumbass last off your fucking baby. And do I look like I care? What's wrong with you?
By the way, that is the reporting of our friend Gerald from NC Beat, good friend.
And that's a teacher.
Right. This is the third time the student had been terrorizing teachers. Now, here's the reason. This all started. I mean, this big, the thesis that Black students are disproportionately penalized. And in some cases they are. And if that happens, there needs to be action taken. But that's not really the norm of what's going on. It's just not. So this all started with something called the Dear Colleague letter from Obama. Okay. So it came out in 2014. And Obama said, look, we're going to take the DOJ and we're going to go after you. We're going to go after you. And by the way, if you have a difference in Black students and white students being suspended, we will assume that you're racist and you will be punished. And look at this algorithm. This algorithm down here it is prescriptive on how students need to be disciplined. It's a flow chart. And so at that point, that's right. At that point, now in our state, I'm telling you right now, there is a quota for who can be suspended and who cannot.
Oh, we know Mo Green. That has Mo Green's fingerprints all over it.
Oh no, this is Republicans and Democrats, my friend.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, he also has his own version.
Oh, absolutely. People like John Torbett, representative from Gastonia, Hugh Blackwell, they have tried to turn this around over the last 4 years, and I've tried to help them do that. There really is no appetite for it. Catherine Truitt, who was a superintendent before, speaking of trans Republican, this is a funny story. Her and Mark Robinson, I can tell you now, her and Mark Robinson were in I think it was a Council of State meeting, and she openly said, we can't be punishing Black students. And Mark's like, Black students will beat your ass, my ass, and everyone in here, right? And you're the victims are other Black students. And he's right.
Well, it's good he stood up for her against that, because, this is the kind of thing you see. And that's what happened in New Hanover County too.
That is exactly what happened. And so here's what they want to do. Wait a minute. Let me just put this differently. Sound basic education. So again, what they're wanting to do is they want to alter the discipline, but it all rests on the theory that there is an oppressed and an oppressor. And if you are the oppressed minority, by the way, it's never white Christian males and it's never Jews. But if you are the oppressor, then you have to take whatever the oppressed gives you.
Which could include a slap, because it seems like that's what a lot of teachers get.
Right. And it really is. And light discipline, if any. And I'll tell you that most of the victims of this stuff are actually minorities themselves. So these policies serve no one.
It's pandering. It's really not it's pandering. And I don't even understand why.
Well, it's harmful to everyone, and Black students don't like it either.
Who is it pandering to? Where is the pandering? Is it to the politicians? Who's winning?
Well, I don't know. It's opiate for the masses, I guess, to say that people are disproportionately punished, because no one likes that. America's a fair and just country. When anyone hears that, I don't care what color they are, they want to put a stop to it.
Absolutely.
But when
the point I was trying to make is there are no winners. There's no winners in that. So what's the value? There's no value statement.
Well, you just really you stumbled on something I wanted to talk about too, is that when we look at the collection of bills that Democrats are trying to get through, they're doing it in the name of protecting LGBTQ people. Okay, they're very interested in doing that. That's the driving mission. And again, it appeals to our sense of fairness and justice. No American wants anyone singled out for harm.
Absolutely not. But let's go back to the premise I've made in the past. When you're 1% of the population, and we don't need to accommodate you if we're making it right on everyone.
You follow the laws in the books, which, by the way, so let's juxtapose these collection of bills to keep gays safe and these other bills, a collection of bills that want ICE to not cooperate with any sheriff at all. That means criminal gang members. That means open borders. And that means hiding. So this would make it even worse. Hiding
trafficking children. It means trafficking children too.
Children. And so you're hiding illegals in schools and churches and hospitals. And so then I looked at the places where refugees were likely to come, and we can just look at that, and where illegals are likely to come in North Carolina. Afghanistan, Syria, and the Congo were 1, 2, and 3. So let me put this up here. Syria, this is how they treat gay people. So you're importing potentially well, we know they're lawbreakers if they're here illegally, but you're importing potentially violent homophobes into this country. By the way, I don't know if you know, but Syria, they're not crazy about the Jews. Usually the people that don't like gays do not like Jews. I don't care if they're on the right or the left. Syria, when they say hang in the balance, that's not bullshit. That's right. And let's look at Afghanistan. How does the Taliban, now then you would say, well, gosh, that's why they need to be refugees, Sloan. Here's the problem. They're not vetting the refugees. When you don't have a vetting program, anyone can be a refugee. And that's exactly what we have.
And here's the other thing. If you're a refugee, what kind of training do you go into to assimilate to culture in America? Because if you think as a refugee from Afghanistan, it is okay to have a 9-year-old girl as your wife,
Well, that's enough.
Or a boy, that is not a simulation.
Well, let's take it full circle. And you've got an illegal who beats up a gay person. And under this other bill, they can't say they did it because they were gay.
Right. It's the circle of bullshit. It's a bullshit circle.
Well, it's never ending, right? It's the circle of life for a typical Democrat. So they're importing people who would do great harm specifically to gay people.
And children.
That's right. And they say that they're interested. They're all their bills for children, but they're very, very interested in safety for gays. That's bullshit. Let's just cut the bullshit, shall we? And speaking today, look at this crackpot headline from WBT. 3 people were arrested after nearly 16 pounds of illegal drugs were seized in Cleveland County traffic stop, blah, blah, blah. Okay.
They meant to say 3 illegals.
What kind of, how about we just say men? Can we just say men? 3 men.
Illegal.
Of fighting age. 16 pounds of what? 16 pounds of pot can't kill a lot of people.
Yeah, and they don't really give you a good picture of what that 16 pounds is, does it?
No, it's just 3 people. We have no idea what gender they are. Just, fun-loving people. And, well, I don't know, guys. This is the bullshit games that the media plays, but I love what Trump has done. Remember 2 weeks ago, we showed this. This is a fentanyl dealer, 36-year-old Dominican Republic. I think she's been deported a lot. And I love their comms team is straight up fire. Here's what they posted today. They did a meme of it. I mean, are they trolling libs or what?
Well, and today there was another one of JD Vance with Charlie Kirk on the plane, and Charlie Kirk said, "Am I doing it right?" Because they took the picture and turned it into the same kind of meme style. So their comms team is fire. And you know who else is fire? Marco Rubio. Marco Rubio got on television today, and I don't even watch TV, and he said, if you come to this country as a guest, which you are if you're going to one of our universities, and you participate in riots and mayhem and vandalism, you will leave. And then what he did that I loved was he said, if you come to my house at a party at my house and you vandalize my house, you're going home.
GTF. Well, here's what I said. Look, and I put this up and I'm actually proud of it because I want more people to know this. You and I are champions of free speech. We've been people try to silence us, etc. So I'm going to begin with that premise. But when you come in here on an F1 visa, it is a contract. It's an exchange, right? I'm willing to condition my speech and my behavior, right? Because I might do crazy shit in the country I come from. But I'm not going to do that crazy shit here because I'm going to apply and I'm going to be accepted.
And I want to go to school.
There you go. Okay. So look, speech is part of almost every crime. If I'm robbing a bank, I'm going to write a letter. I'm going to rob you, right? And I'm going to send it under the that's using speech. Speech is also used in probably rape. It's used in about every crime.
Murder, in everything. Yeah.
So to sit there and say, speech was used, that's sacrosanct, we can't do anything about that, is utter bullshit.
Well, it's not just speech too. When you damage and harass people, that is past the marker of speech. When you go after one specific protected class, which Jews are, that is not following the law. When you vandalize the ROTC building at UNC,
when you beat up a professor, these are the things they do. And I'm tired of saying, and you know what really pisses me off? Seeing Jews today telling other Jews, we should all stand up for this Jew hater from Turkey because, well, free speech. Up yours. Don't tell me what I should be doing and saying and thinking. I know full well I'm not going to stand up for anyone that comes into this country, hates this country. This is exactly what I voted for. I'm happy as hell.
Coordinated against this country with Hamas. And
I mean,
and
they
I'm
hate
sorry you
America.
got your handcuffs on in front of the whole world and you're a little embarrassed. You didn't get hurt. Nobody hurt you. We all saw the video.
At least it was for a good reason.
Right.
But the notion that, you know, you and I don't like free speech, but I'm not going to sit here and pretend as though it's just a part of, you know, oh, if it's free speech, by damn, we have to accept it. On a lighter note, the North Carolina House, this sailed through, carrying without a permit.
Finally.
Tell us about your emotions about this.
Well, I think this is a long time coming. I think a lot of people do not understand what it takes to get a concealed carry permit in some counties. In my own county,
Yeah.
And what's really interesting is the law is clear, but some counties do not follow the law. In my county,
it took me about 3 months.
Right. Well, in my county, you know, they are really big on making sure you have that mental health form filled out. But, you know, what you'll find is there's a lot of doctors around here that do not want to fill out that form. They don't like guns. They're not going to help you.
Really? I just heard about a doctor like that today.
And that's the concern is, you know, they have put a step in place knowing that most physicians are not going to sign off on that. Now, an old crusty military doctor will, but that's one issue. Then you have people like that sheriff down in Charlotte and one in Guilford County that will slow walk those to the point that it could take up to a year. So what we're doing is just saying, look, we have a right to have these guns. And we should not have to be put through the process that is inconsistent across the state. So let's just make it permitless.
Yeah. Well, I like the fact that 18-year-olds can have a gun because most 18-year-olds, look, in the South, as soon as we can stand up, we learn how to shoot.
Half the high schools here have rifle teams.
I mean, oh my God. I remember when I had to shoot clay pigeons to graduate and to pass PE. So remember that?
If they'd known how you were going to grow up, they probably would have regretted that. Just kidding.
Listen, I kept the gun pointed. The business end was pointing in the right direction every single time.
That's
shotgun.
Great.
Yeah, I mean, a shotgun, whatever it was, a rifle. Clearly, I wasn't paying attention. I'm a handgun kind of person, but I remember it was as big as I was. So to do that, I mean,
you know, you're lucky you didn't knock your shoulder out.
Oh, I know. I won't fire one now, but anyway. But the point is that, you know, it's great to have, and I'm kind of skipping around because I really want to put this up here because this is going to be, I've changed my mind on this. Here we go. Wait, not this. I'll never change my mind on that. Don't mess with my damn guns now. I'm trying to put this video up. Okay. The cell phone ban also advanced today. This is Neil Jackson. He's a friend of ours.
And I like him very much, but let me say, unless they're going to allow us to have cameras in the classroom, I do not want cell phones to be removed because that fight we saw earlier would never have been recorded had kids not had cell phones to do that.
So originally I was on the fence about this. And to be clear, this bill, what it says is that every district must make a policy. Okay. So they're not mandating you can't have it, but you got to make a policy. But what does that do? It puts attention to it. And, you know, I don't know, but I'm with you. We would never have been able to see that fight if there were not cameras in the classroom.
Well, and there have been other fights that I have seen, you know, especially like, I guess there was some gang violence at one of the campuses in Durham. And I think that the pattern of behavior for the gang violence would never have been recognized as a pattern had someone not pulled their camera out every time, their phone out every time to see the pattern continue with the same people.
Well, if they're going to make schools tantamount to prison yards,
which
some, yeah. How the hell are you going to send your kid to school without a way to communicate with you or someone else? I am in full agreement, actually.
And if you're going to send your kid to a school where you know teachers are not following the rules when it comes to DEI and all this transgender stuff, I hope your kid knows how to record that conversation. Because
well, I'm a journalist. We always do that. We always, my second skin is Well, we already know that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm glad that you're seeing it that way. Listen, if they start doing security systems, if they start doing what they said they were going to do with ESSER funds, like they did in Guilford County, where they got $14 million and they said they were going to spend it on cameras on the campus, I would have been fine with that. But that's not what they did.
They never spent it on ventilation, and that's a problem, right? Because
Right.
and by the way, speaking of failed audits, NC State, or wait a minute,
NC
North
Central.
Carolina. Yeah, I don't have a visual, but NC Central was just reprimanded by Dave. Dave Bullock told us he would do it. He's a man of his word, and he caught a $45 million repeated error. So it's like, I guess in bookkeeping, if you make the same error, it's just going to compound. School says it's going to fix it, but that's $45 million that I believe will go back to the taxpayer.
Well, what's really sad about that is that that's an HBC, an HBU, and they are the ones that completely always ask, we need more money, we need more money. And so you got to have good accounting to take care of the money you've got. To ensure we don't need more money, because we don't mind giving it to you. But if you're not taking care of the money you got, it kind of puts a red flag up.
I think you're right. I mean, you're definitely right. And so he caught that error. So we just want to say, out of that department, we're very impressed. Good going. I mean, the best is probably yet to come. By the way, I'd be remiss if I didn't bring this up. So we had Sam Page on. Sam Page is a very well-known sheriff. He ran for lieutenant governor. He's running against the most powerful person in North Carolina politics here, which makes this all the more remarkable. And we're talking about Senate Pro Tem Phil Berger. So he came on, and less than 24 hours later, Senator Berger, whoops, damn it, they changed the system on me just to make me look bad. Okay. The next day, I mean, he comes out with the big guns. Now, again, I pointed out the primaries are a year away.
Well, and today he had another one, I think.
I know.
Is this going to be like Catherine Truitt, one a day endorsements?
Well, I don't know. But I do find it funny. And other political reporters were saying that, look, Sheriff Sam Page announced his candidacy 4 months ago. So this isn't new. He's been in the newspaper, et cetera. What was new is being on with us. That was what was new.
Yep. And actually highlighting the fact that Berger had people on his staff who were openly and blatantly saying negative things about Trump, which we do or do not know yet, because it hasn't been substantiated how Phil Berger feels about that.
Well, I mean, again, my thesis was, control your staff. We deserve respect. We deserve respect. And when we are paying staffers to do the work of the people, and they're sitting there calling us everything and making fun of us because we're hicks, rednecks, and dumb. And this is the people of North Carolina who vote and put people in. I think when you allow that kind of behavior and leadership comes from the top, that's a problem for me.
Well, and when you're doing it during work hours, most especially blatantly in front of our faces, while we're paying your salary, no less.
It's definitely a slap in the face. So I'm going to put this up because I know that you just love Jeff Jackson.
I do not, but I will. I mean,
he saves the hell out of you.
I will give him credit for the things that he does do that are right. Well,
let's talk about this. So this came out yesterday. 20 AGs signed a letter to Trump. Now you want to talk about oppositional. He's been trying to literally block everything Trump is. I mean, he's
literally.
We see right through him. But curiously absent from this letter slamming Trump, I suppose, was Jeff Jackson's name. Now, Jeff Jackson, if you don't know, he's the far left attorney general here in North Carolina.
In the top 5%.
Okay.
It matters.
This is them.
Top 5% for most bipartisan members of Congress.
And it matters. He says by being bipartisan matters.
Which is a blatant lie usually from him. But I I have a theory about why he did that, why he did not sign on that. My theory is that the North Carolina General Assembly has called him out for doing it, and he has to say, well, I didn't do it this time.
Oh, right, because there's a bill making its way through that is going to, it says, look, you're not going to use taxpayer funds to do these wild ass leftist lawsuits that actually go against the people of North Carolina. And the thesis is, and it's quite right, why are we paying our taxpayer dollars when we didn't vote for it?
Right. Now, I want to give him some credit, because today he did do something that I really appreciate. And I'm all about, like, if you do something good, I'm going to say you did, even if you're a liar and I don't like you. He came right out and put a statement out that if you have your data on 23andMe because they are going bankrupt, that his statement was get it out of the database immediately, which is protecting your DNA. So I really appreciated that he did that.
Well,
Honestly,
conservative must own the company then.
well, but truthfully, here's the thing. I don't think a lot of AGs would have thought to say that to their constituents, truthfully. That's just not top of mind. But your DNA, and especially, I don't know if you know this, Sloan, that particular system was hacked, and they only wanted the Ashkenazi Jews. That's the only DNA they wanted. That's right. 7 months ago, that system was hacked. So that's why he's saying he doesn't know who's going to get the DNA database. So go remove your database, your information from the database.
Well, I never went there because I always knew who I was. So
me too. I didn't have any reason to go there.
Listen, people tell, you get over and over again, just, by rote what your identity is. So jumping back, we're really jumping around, and I quite like it.
I kind of like it too.
I feel a little bit looser today, a little bit looser, laid back.
I'm all for it.
What's your birthday
today?
It's your birthday, quite honestly. So we're just chilling.
That's right.
So check this out. We, the Republicans, have had to write bills that would be seemingly and intuitively obvious things that are not so obvious. Dang it. Okay. Wait a minute now. Okay. This is the bill that you really, really like, and it's by who put this forward?
Vicky Sawyer and Brad Overcash.
Senators. Fantastic.
It's the Senate bill.
That's right. Okay. So it defines boys and girls based on biological reality. This seems stupid, but you have to do it given all the bills that we showed you. This is the only stopgap measure to preserve sanity in this state. And we've already legislated it. Protects women and girls in private spaces. I got to tell you.
There's another piece to that goes back to what we talked about earlier, the vital statistics. That bill also states your driver's license must match your sex and your birth certificate must match your sex. So that entered into agreement would be null and void.
Okay, well, that's really, again, all of this stuff should be, intuitively obvious. And we don't, as conservatives, we don't like bills that get into people's bathrooms, right? But or damn it, or their pants, for God's sakes. But I mean, prevents biological, boys being housed with female inmates or children. Wow, just wow. That we have to do this. Wow. Stop schools from allowing males to sleep in girls' rooms during field trips.
It's really scary that we're at this position in history. It defines boy, man, and father. It defines girl, woman, mother. Why do we have to do that? Because Webster's dictionary is woke. That's why.
Because Democrats, that's why.
That's right.
That's why. So what I love is a private right of action. And that means that parents have a right to sue. They always have a right to sue, but it strips away qualified immunity that would be held in schools. For instance, if my daughter called me because she's going to keep her phone and said they're allowing guys to come in here and sleep because the guys say they're girls now.
Excuse me.
Bless you. I would not be able to sue. It's qualified immunity. There's a lot of hoops you have to go through. In fact, a Supreme Court case in North Carolina just came through, and that's how serious it is. You have to work your way through the court just to have the ability to make the lawsuit to burst the qualified immunity. That's how it works. So this is a private right of action, just like the Parental Bill of Rights done last legislative session here by Republicans. that gives us the right to sue. Why is that important? It's a deterrent. Most people don't want to be sued, most schools. Parents Protection Act. Donnie Loftus, thank you for this. Also Gaston County. Protects parents from abuse allegations for raising children according
to their biological
sex. So activists, Iron Maiden,
ESS,
are going around and saying, wow, they've conned your kid into believing that they're a male and you're raising as a female. Okay. Ensures parents can adopt or foster without sex changes. Okay.
This is so 1984-ish that we're doing this, isn't it?
I'm tripping out here. Explicitly states that raising a child based on their biological sex is not criminal abuse
or neglect. It's kind of unbelievable that we're at this juncture in our history in this country that we're having to actually explicitly say things that we have grown up knowing to be true.
Since time immemorial, people have known it to be true. Since Adam and Eve. Which is really the point, right? You're trying to take God out of homes now. If you can be whatever you want to be, then that means there's no God, right? It nullifies the concept of a higher.
Correct.
This is your Democrat Party in North Carolina. And listen to me, Republicans, when you're running right now, listen to me. Stop talking about taxes and this and that. This is who they are. This is who they are. And you need to vote Republican to protect your family against open borders and this insanity. Do you agree?
I do. And not only that, I don't really like the fact that there are some Republicans who still think that they can cross the line with some of these radical Democrats and that there's nothing in it. Like there's no like hidden meaning, backdoor deal. We know there is.
I'm gonna tell you, first timers up there who are in the House and Senate, you better run a few things by your base to make sure that the people you're aligning yourself with, because a lot of us have been in this in a long time, and you can go up there, and I promise I've seen it happen every single time. You will get hoodwinked. It'll be on some kind of, it'll be preserved. People will find it out, and you will get your ass handed to you, and it will be a very unpleasant experience. So I'm trying to save you. Do not go along with these Democrats publicly unless you vetted them, because it's a very slippery place up there.
Because they're looking forward to saying you did.
Oh, yeah, they are. And then you're going to have a primary opponent. And I don't care if you think you're safe or not. Nobody wants to spend money or effort.
Extra money.
Let's just keep to our own for a little bit on some of these things.
Sure.
And now, that's what I'm telling them. And now, speaking of political advice and a total postmortem, we need to bring up what happened in Pennsylvania. We had a reckoning and we had an ass kicking. Tell us what happened.
Well, the Republicans lost a very easy special election for the Pennsylvania Senate that they should have easily won. They lost by 487 votes. And the reason they lost is, one, because people got complacent. They have voter fatigue. That's one piece of it. Two, they underestimated, like they always do, that there were going to be triple the mail-in ballots from the Democrats coming in, because they always mail in their ballots, and Republicans are just not comfortable doing that, which is a shame. And then three, I'm just going to say it outright. The Pennsylvania GOP in Lancaster County did not take Scott Pressler up, and Cliff Maloney, who chases ballots. They didn't take them up on their offer to come in and help them. And that is how you lose elections. And the reason this is really important is because that's a red district that now Josh Shapiro, the governor, and the Pennsylvania Democrats can openly say, we won it, and they shouldn't have.
Well, you just saw a post where they did. So, okay. So if I'm in my district, let's say, and it's a +3 Republican district. Because I think that's what it was. It was a +3. That means it was
much higher than a +3.
That was more than a +3.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, shit.
That's what makes this defeat so bad.
Okay, you lose these districts by two things. Obviously, the first three things, really. obviously the first one is turnout. It's usually turnout. You have not turned on your base, et cetera. Well, wait a minute. It could be. I mean, with this one, you're 100% correct. But when you wait for a 2-year cycle, because this is only a 1-year cycle?
It's a special election.
This is special. Yeah, okay, so 2 years, you may have an influx of, I'm just putting out there. If it's a district where I only have to get 23,000 votes, right? It might be that I've had, 5,000 people move into that district, and I just have not registered them. I haven't captured that. That's called expanding the electorate. If you're not expanding the electorate also, and the Democrats are, right? Or this is a hellish nightmare of a situation, this theory, and it's not true. You may have people swinging to Democrat votes. Now, I know that's not true because 26% of the American population likes the Democrat Party.
And this is an Amish conservative district.
Oh,
So this is pure people not knowing there's a special election and not getting feet on the street to get people to the polls. 487 votes. That is pathetic. And why is this so important? It's important not because of just what happened in Pennsylvania. It's important because we have another one of these elections going on in Wisconsin right now. It's early voting in Wisconsin for the Wisconsin Supreme Court race. I am begging you, if you have a wireless phone, a cell phone, that's what we call them, right? Get on your cell phone and get this early vote action app. Get on there and just go in there. You can go over to this little area that says send text messages and sit from your phone and send text messages to remind people. Pardon me?
We did that during the election. I think I made like 5,000 calls in one day just from doing that.
Yep. You can hit the send text button. And this is Scott Pressler's app, by the way. And you can text from your house to remind people that early voting goes through April the 1st. I'm sorry, this Sunday. It goes through this Sunday. The election is April the 1st. So the early voting goes through this Sunday. And you can sit in your house in North Carolina. You can be in South Carolina. I hope you're watching me from the North Pole. I don't care. But you can you can get your phone out and you can text from your phone to let people know they need to get out and vote, because if Brad Schimmel does not win this election, Wisconsin, which was the smallest win for Trump in all the swing states, will become a radical state. They will redistrict it to Democrats. There will be no Republicans in the House or Senate, and we will lose Wisconsin. So I'm begging you for my birthday, if that's what I have to do.
Oh, yeah. For your birthday. Tell us the name of the app again.
It's called Early Vote Action.
Early Vote Action, Android and app?
Yep, you can see it right here. It's called Early Vote Action. And you just go in there. What did I do?
Nails. Let's see the nails again.
You just go in there.
What do you have on your nails? You have
They're flowers.
I love it. Okay, so early vote action. So, but I'm a precinct chair. I know most of us are I don't like to brag, but I'm a precinct chair. And that means municipals are coming up. So I'm telling you, you do not want to be the precinct chair that has, a 20% turnout in your precinct.
Well, that's the other thing about this app that's pretty cool, is that you can go in here and, like, let's say send text. It'll say voters near me, and I could go find where in my precinct, who's in my precinct, and I can go over there.
You're just gonna go over. You could just go over there and knock on the door.
But I found out there are people that say they live in my precinct that don't, because they don't show up in the app, but they voted in my precinct.
Well, Margot's going to get to the bottom of that. Trust and believe. Trust and believe. Yeah. Okay, but I mean, look, I'm just telling you, precinct chairs. If you became your precinct chair, it was for a reason. Mine was because they wanted fireworks, and that's what they're going to get. But you've got to get these people out to vote. I mean, it's only, depending on you. What do you have? 6 people in your precinct?
Well, I only had 3 show up to the convention.
Well, I mean, I'm in Wake County. I've got a huge precinct. But yeah, I mean, look, if you've got 2,000 registered voters for municipals, I mean, you need to have 3,000 there voting. I'm joking, but you need to have at least every one of those.
You're right.
You have to work it. I'm telling you, this really scared the hell out of me, and it should scare us and humble us, and we can't let it happen.
Right. And by the way, I just want to switch just a little because we're talking about precinct chairs. This is the last week of conventions for the county level in North Carolina.
It's
So
been hell.
please get on the NCGOP website if you haven't. There's conventions going on starting, this weekend. They'll be the last set of them. Go if you can. Let's get this done because April will start district conventions. And then June, we will have the state convention. And I want to see all my friends as delegates with Sloan and I and Eric Stevenson, because he's a delegate too, and many, many others.
We're going to have fun.
We are.
Are we going to allow cameras?
I don't know. I don't know if they will or not. I don't know.
I'm joking.
But we'll
okay.
take one anyway.
We're going to take one anyway. All right. We're going to let you guys know what's going on. All right. So thank you for joining us. I mean, I got to tell you, covering all these bills, analyzing all these bills, it's a lot.
Yeah, I think if you want to know more, head over to our Substack. There's a couple written articles over there. You can join our Substack and subscribe. But the biggest thing is what we're talking about on this podcast is always going to be on our Substack, and you can go back towards it.
That's right. Yes, we're putting stories up all the time. By the way, Eric, I'm in Atlanta for NCAA this weekend. I don't like to brag, but I'm going to go watch some hoops in Atlanta. I'm loving the games. I mean, look, if you don't like basketball in this state, I mean, you're not really from the state.
No, you're not. You have to follow the rule because Eric knows the rule and you know the rule. Like, listen, if your team is Carolina and they get bumped out, we're still going to pull for Duke.
That's the rule. And the funny thing is that, we didn't really have a basketball. I mean, not much of one in my school. So I'm able to be flexible. If somebody likes Duke, by damn, sorry about that. If somebody likes Duke, then I like Duke, right? If somebody likes basketball, I'm not talking about the school, right? The basketball.
That's right.
So, yeah.
Listen, Sloan, I hope you have a great weekend. And I want to thank you guys for joining in. And please go get on the Early Vote Action app and help Scott Pressler in America win this race in Wisconsin.
All right. Bye.
Have a good weekend.
Okay. You too.